Hi guys, MrRoflWaffles here. Today we'll be talking about the ending for ZETSUBOU no SHIMA. We'll be explaining exactly what it means and what the consequences of those events will be for the rest of the story. First of all, in order to make sure that you know what we're talking about here, I'm going to play the cutscene, so let's roll that now. Before we do, please like the video, that would be great. Here's the cutscene.
Your eyes, I recognize them. Almost as though they were my own. Takeo Musaki. I did not believe I would find you in such a place. I was a warrior. I fought many great battles for the glory of our nation, for the honor of the dying samurai spirit. I was a hero. I share this memory. I have lived many of the same victories. I later learned that my victories were unwelcome. His betrayal was driven by petty jealousy. He knew I could endure anything, that I feared not even my own death. Punishment is one thing. This is cruelty. Who could be so evil as to desire another soul to endure such suffering? Who amongst us could be so dishonorable? Are you so blinded by your own loyalty? The orders came from the Emperor himself. My life, my path, is built upon a lie. This realm may have been corrupted and consumed by evil, but we possess the power to change things. A better tomorrow is only possible if we blow away the ashes of the past. None of us choose the means by which mercy will find us. But I am at peace. I understand what must be done. Will you be my kaishakunin? It is my honor.
One to go. Guess it's you next, Nikolai.
Nein. There is something else we must do. There is a chain of events that must be set in motion.
Okay, gotta admit, I didn't see that one coming.
Call it our insurance policy, in case we don't like where we end up.
Okay, let's talk about what it means. In the cell below the waves is where honor suffers. That was a cipher that we decoded on the Giant. In this map, we find the 1.0 version of Takeo, which is the Black Ops 1 version of Takeo, trapped in this cell, and he talks about the fact that he was betrayed by somebody and he was forced to stay down there, and instead of killing him, he was trapped within this prison, right? He says he's fought many battles for the sake of the dying samurai spirit. He then says that his victories were unwelcome, and the question would be, who are they unwelcome to? And he then reveals the order came from the Emperor himself. That's the grand revelation here. So that obviously is a shell-shocking moment for the Origins Takeo, because he's been trusting the Emperor for so long. He's devoted his whole life to serving that Emperor, And he then finds out in one fell swoop that it's that very same emperor that condemned Takeo 1.0 to be trapped in this cell and suffer down there. He says it himself, it's cruelty. There's actually a letter in that boss fight room, which I'm going to read you the translation of now. It's written in Japanese, but it's really interesting because it gives us a bit more of an insight into the fact that the Emperor has turned bad and has condemned Takeo 1.0 to a life in this prison, in the cell below the waves. So he says the following: "We tried to kill that guy, which is Takeo, and make it look like an accident, but somehow he miraculously escaped our tricks. The fact that the masses regard him as a hero is intolerable, and that will make people doubt me. It casts a dark shadow on my reign, but we don't need to endure this torture anymore. I've given the following order to an agent in the Institute Division 9. Do not let Takeo Masaki leave the island." The reason that is interesting is that in the letter to the Emperor from Takeo, which we decoded, or rather we translated in Der Eisendrache, we found out that Takeo 1.0 had gone to the island facility as a spy for the Emperor, but then been treated in a really hostile manner. They had taken his weapons away, for example. They had barred him access to various research areas. And so he was there saying, man, this sucks. This whole place is terrible. And he was writing a letter to the Emperor saying, bro, we've got to do something about this. Little did he know that the Emperor had sent him there and then given the order to Division 9 to not let him off the island and trap him in this cell below the waves. It's really quite a sad story, honestly. Clearly, Takeo 1.0 was just such a stand-up figure in the Japanese community. He was so well known and respected for the victories he had won that the Emperor saw him as a threat, and as such, he just had to be taken out. That's the way it was. So clearly this is really upsetting for Takeo, and he has a moment where he's like, holy smokes, this is terrible. My whole life, my path. For what? I've been walking down this path only to find that it was for a corrupt and evil person? That must suck so much. And so then he says, this realm may have been corrupted and consumed by evil, right? And that a better tomorrow is only possible if we blow away the ashes of the past. What he's saying there is that, bro, Takeo 1.0, there's only one thing we can do here, okay? Clearly, this universe has been corrupted. Clearly, in this universe, the Emperor is not a good guy. He's clinging to the idea that maybe there is still some good in the Emperor out there. He's clinging to the thought that in his universe, the Origins universe, potentially that Emperor still has a sort of silver lining running through his heart. He is still a good guy. But in this particular universe, the 1.0's universe, that Emperor has been corrupted for whatever reason. Evil is present, clearly it has crept in, and as such he says he has to blow away the ashes of the past. And in doing so, he conveys to Takeo 1.0 the idea that there's only one thing they can do here in order to put things right. And that is to kill Takeo 1.0. Tak 1.0 then says, yep, I recognize what must be done here, I've got to die, and that's what they do. It's in a very honorable manner, and that's the end of Takeo 1.0. We then see the summoning key, which absorbs Takeo 1.0's soul, so his soul is within the summoning key, alongside Richterfen's 1.0 soul, with Dempsey's 1.0 soul, and most likely with the Shadow Man as well from Shadows of Evil. So those souls are now contained within the summoning key. We would expect that Nikolai would then be next, and that's why Tank says, well, Nikolai, you're up next, right? But Richterfen says, nope, we've got to do something first. And they then teleport. We don't see where they go. We don't see what they do. And then upon returning back, they've got the blood vials on their person. Each character then has a fresh set of blood vials. Richterfen has his from Mob of the Dead, of course, but the other three all have their own blood vials now. So clearly, between that statement that Richterfen says we need to do something else first, a chain of events must be set in motion, they go and do something, and then they come back with the blood vials. That is their insurance policy. Then, DLC 3 will be Nikolai's map, and in that map we'll collect his soul, and then DLC 4 will be the grand conclusion. So, let's recap things now, and then we can wrap things up. Takeo 1.0 in the 1.0's universe is a very well-respected figure by the masses. He is well known for the victories that he has won. Then, the Emperor sees this and is distressed somewhat by it. He uses Takeo 1.0 as a spy and sends them to the Division 9 research facility in Pohnpei, which is where ZETSUBOU no SHIMA takes place. Once Takeo 1.0 arrives, he gives orders secretly to the Division 9 officers to take Tak's weapons away, to restrict him from various research areas, and generally make his life hell. He then ultimately gives the final order to not let Takeo Masaki off the island. Division 9 see this, they receive the order, and they trap him in the cell below the waves. That is what we see in the Giant cipher that we have decoded. And then if we switch to the Black Ops 3 story now, the Origins characters are working through the 1.0s and killing them so that they can trap their souls in the summoning key. Richter from 1.0 gets taken out, Dempsey 1.0 gets taken out, and then they find Takeo 1.0 in the cell below the waves. He very honorably takes himself out, and that's the end of the cutscene, but we then do see a teleport elsewhere, and they then return, which is still a big question mark and something to investigate in future videos. I've been MrRoflWaffles. Hopefully this has explained the cutscene sufficiently for you. If it has done, leave a like, that would be fantastic, and if you want anything else explained, let me know in the comments down below. Thanks for watching, guys. Bye-bye.